My story is not about answering the phone when I was 3 months pregnant with my third daughter, or hearing the ominous words, "You need to come right in." Somewhere in there, I heard the word cancer. I was on my way to dance class with my oldest daughter, Jackie, then only 4 years old, now 33. My other daughter, Katie, was a year and a half old. I pulled over to the side of the road, sucked in my breath, and struggled to get air in my lungs and the words in my head to even begin to accept them in my heart. I can't have cancer. I'm having a baby. I have a life to live. You see, my precious mother had died 6 months earlier of mad cow disease, and I was still dealing with life without my best friend, grieving by myself as my 11 brothers and sisters clung to each other in Minnesota. My new reality. Numerous visits to specialist after specialist, and miraculously, 6 months later, my miracle baby popped her red head into this world. Surgery, prayers, miracles, and life went on as if nothing had ever disrupted my life. I raised 3 daughters, eventually as a single mother, and then another blow. A yearly visit to the doctor, a small spot on my face. Fungus, the doctor said. Fungus? What a gross word. I'm not going to tell anybody that because it's, well, gross. I still hate the word. Ellen, my doctor, referred me to a dermatologist, and the next day I walked into the doctor's office. "You're here, why?" she asked. Fungus, I said. I whispered it. I was embarrassed. She took a closer look and said, "Cancer," and called another doctor into the room to confirm her initial diagnosis. A biopsy confirmed their suspicions. I wanted it to be fungus. Now I was loving the word. I wanted fungus on my face. One surgery, an inch and a half cut off of my face, and I was back in the ballgame of life. Fast forward to 5 years ago, when I was eating at some friend's house on Mother's Day. My friend drew me to the side after the meal. "Sandy, I have to move out of friend mode and move into doctor mode. You have cancer on your face." I could see it with the overhead light, when the overhead light was shining on your face. That C word again for the third time. An emergency visit to the dermatologist the next day. That darn C word again. My story is not about those trials. They were the things I had to go through to do the work that I was put on this earth for. Let me start by introducing you to Gentle John. John Perry was a gentle man with a raspy voice. John had a slight build, missing teeth, and long gray hair. But mostly John had eyes that sparkled. Eyes that screamed to the world that he housed a heart of love. I met John when he arrived in Nashville after many years paying back for mistakes he had made. In his 50s, this man loved Jesus with a passion that I'd never seen before. John was homeless, and I was called to love on those that the world sneered at, spit on, and called losers. The poor, needy, and homeless were told, "Get a job, go back to school, you are worthless." Act 1. I was going through the motions of life, collecting people and things, and life felt empty. After my third survivorship, the Lord shook me up and said, "I created you. I allowed you to go through these trials so you could relate to others. You are wasting your lessons learned." I became a motivational speaker and a life coach. Then a trip to Haiti, and I was me, comfortable in my it doesn't make sense life. At peace with the plans he had for me. Papa's plan for my life was to be uncomfortable, so that others could find some semblance of comfort, so others could experience a dose of love, unconditional love, when it doesn't make any earthly sense. I was meant to love on the discards of life. The discards? Those whose lives are a mess, the ones who make mistakes, men and women and children who took off their masks, didn't wear their Facebook faces, and said, "Life is tough, and I am not." People like me, you, and the person sitting next to you. That C word, it was merely a stepping stone to the work that hopefully, when I shed my earth suit, will award me the words, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Back to John. Gentle John. Love people, love life, and love Jesus. I spent many hours with this sweet man. He became to me the brother that I craved and prayed for. You see, I have 7 brothers and 4 sisters, but they live so far away and have such busy lives. I understand that, but I also know that I wanted brothers so bad, that cared about my daily life, that protected me. That was what we want all big brothers to do. I wanted brothers who felt the need to protect me. When I traveled, Gentle John started staying at my house with my dog, Bo. Another rescue. 3 years ago, John called me on a Wednesday. Sandy, my tent and my sleeping bag got so wet last night. Can I hang out at your house for a little while today? You see, John slept in a cemetery. He felt safe there. John arrived at 8 o'clock that morning and stayed for the next year and a half. 2 of my daughters live in California, and Lauren, my miracle baby, followed me to Nashville. John became Uncle John to her. He helped her with his Pinterest projects, changed her oil and brakes, washed her car when she left her car at our house to go on a trip. Every time Lauren visited and was leaving, John said, "I love you, be careful. There's crazy people out there." A year ago, last Christmas, my girls and I were together in California. John was taking care of Bo and nursing the flu. 2 days into the trip, my phone rang while Katie, my middle daughter, and I were at lunch, enjoying our mother-daughter time, alone. "Sandy, this is Dr. Somebody." The title doctor stopped me in mid-bite. "We have John here at the hospital. He has very severe pneumonia. We're going to ventilate him to help him breathe, and he wanted me to call you before we do. He will not be able to talk for at least a week while he has the apparatus on his face." I felt like someone punched me in the stomach. "Wait, doctor, will you ask him about Bo, my dog?" You see, John was staying at the house taking care of my dog and my girlfriend's dog. Yes, he said Jeffrey is at the house staying with him. Jeffrey, another sweet homeless man who had spent many nights, sometimes weeks, in one of the beds in my house. I heard him say Jeffrey, and that was the last word I ever heard him say. 2 hours later, I got the call. John did not make it. I ran out of the cottage we were renting by the water in Santa Cruz, and I ran and I ran and I ran, and I cried, "Lord." I screamed in the air, "Why? He was my brother. He taught me more about your love than anyone else." Yes, he did, my child. Now pass it on. My first act of life was a very selfish place. Welcome to my second act, living for the Lord, living the life that I was created to live. It just took me a while to get there. Yesterday, I got a call from Timothy. After many, many years on the streets, he got his own place. "Sandy, I got my place," his loud voice boomed into the phone. I did the happy dance, and then he said, "But I have nothing. I mean nothing, just the clothes that were in my backpack." I walked out to the garage, the place that has become a makeshift warehouse. "Timothy, I have a bed, a table and chairs, easy chair and end tables, toaster, mixer, and coffee pot, dishes, silverware, glassware, and towels." It was silent, but for the sobs. I packed up my SUV as full as I could get it. I hoisted an easy chair into the back, put in a microwave, kitchen, stuffed towels, and waste baskets. Right now in my vehicle, it's packed for when I leave here to bring somebody's stuff. Yep. When I arrived at the sketchy part of town, Timothy was sitting on the front steps. As I exited the vehicle, I heard another voice. "You never stop, do you?" This beautiful, familiar face had helped me carry a microwave to another guy who got a place there just a couple weeks before. I popped the back hatch, and Timothy said, "How much is mine?" "All of it." The tears slid down his cheeks, and then I saw them glistening on the other man who stood nearby. We carried it in the small house, and Timothy oohed and ahed and cried. We hung up a shower curtain with matching shower hooks. "Miss Sandy, why do I get all of this? I don't deserve it." No, Timothy, none of us do. That's called grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. That's still saving wretches like you and me, Timothy. He raised his hands to the heavens, unaware that tears were dripping onto the floor, or maybe not caring. Once upon a time, I had a big house. I collected things that needed to be dusted and took up space and cost lots of money. I had a storage unit so I could store more treasures. Today, I collect memories. Memories of time spent with the poor, needy, and homeless. The Bible says to feed, clothe, and love our brothers and sisters. I'm still a mess. I make lots of mistakes and bad choices. My prayer is that the Lord looks at my heart, at my intentions. I hope he sees Rocky, the homeless man who stayed at my house for 6 months while he had chemo every Monday, or Marty, who stays at my house now while he catches up on child support so he doesn't have to go to jail. Act 2, A garage filled with shelves of clothes that are donated, kitchen utensils on shelves and furniture in the middle, shelves with food and clothes hanging from the rafters. Step outside and furniture under tarps. It is not unusual for me to turn the corner when I come home and see another couch and love seat that join the family, ready to be loved. I always tell the neighbors that I have tarps over, and I always tell them that I have a Lamborghini and a Porsche under there, so just be careful. My new stage, anywhere where there's a genuine need. A homeless man needing a ride to his new job, a clean pair of pants, new socks, a second pair of underwear. A shoulder at the funeral of a 42-year-old sister-in-law, someone that cares. One Sunday, I walked into the shelter to love on the homeless, and one man ran over to me for his hug. I was hoping you'd come today, Sandy. This is the only hug I get all week. I needed the first act of my life to clean out the selfishness and to learn some painful lessons. I am savoring all that I have yet to do in Act 2. Act 1 taught me the lessons. Act 2 taught me to love unconditionally. Thank you.